Great taste. Sweet. Sour. So good to taste.
Welcome to Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Steve Boss, and we are coming to you from the Hy-Vee Club Room. And this show that you're about to listen to is going to probably be the most nutritious show that we've ever done. And I'm certain that it'll be delicious. But before we get to that, we're going to start off with our segment on health and nutrition with our health coach, Emily Rose Shaw. And Emily, I have to just say that I've been working with you now for about 8 weeks, maybe, something like that, I think. And I have if I didn't have a berry smoothie in the morning, I'm sure I would be green by now, because all I do is eat greens at lunch and dinner. So I'm very excited, though, about the show, because you're going to make a green smoothie. And I told you a couple weeks ago that I was done. I'm not infiltrating my smoothies with greens. So now I can learn how to do it in case I decide to. But I just love feeling so good, so healthy, so full of excitement and energy. And I think that part of it has to do with, obviously, just eating really well. And this is going to be a great opportunity for listeners to understand a little bit about what juicing and blending can do for them. And I know that you want to start out talking about the USDA and MyPlate. So tell us a little bit about MyPlate.
Well, I want to cover some of the overall benefits of blending and juicing, because they share a lot of the same benefits. So the first one is, the USDA says that they come out with these dietary guidelines. I think it's every 5 years. And the most recent one is called MyPlate. And it's a visual of a plate, and half of your plate is supposed to be filled with fruits and vegetables. But a lot of Americans still struggle, despite that visual, of actually getting them every day. So a great way to get more fruits and vegetables, a huge number of them, in a very easy-to-consume format, is blending and juicing. And so that's the USDA MyPlate that you were talking about. And then also, plants' structure is made up of cellulose, which is this undigestible fiber for humans. And so what blending and juicing does, it's this new technology. We're in this age where we have all these fancy blenders and juicers can actually burst the cell walls of the plants, and then those nutrients are much more better absorbed in our bodies. A lot of people don't chew properly, so drinking it is much easier for us to get all those nutrients. And then there's a topic of enzymes. Some health experts believe that enzymes are really beneficial for our digestion. Enzymes are responsible for every metabolic process in our body. So there's enzymes in food, and when you eat food that's not heated over around 118 degrees, you're getting all those enzymes that are really good for us.
Speaking about chewing, I just have to throw this in. There was in the early 20th century, there was a masticating society or something like that. They had some organization, I think it was I don't know if it was in England or if it was in the States, and they sat around and chewed a lot. That was what they did. It was so bizarre reading about that. But anyway, that was an aside. What about, does juicing and blending, what kind of effect does it have? Because I've heard of so much over the last few years about eating more of an alkaline diet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so greens and fruits and vegetables in general are very alkalizing. And the standard American diet, SAD diet, is quite acidic from all of the, primarily the animal products, the meat that a lot of Americans consume. That creates an acidic environment, and that can be that kind of supports disease, actually, having that acidic environment. Our blood likes to be slightly alkaline. So fruits and vegetables are very alkalizing, so it can really help to prevent disease.
Is there a way to easily tell whether your system at the present moment is alkaline or acidic?
There are these strips. I've never done it, but there are these different strips that you can test, how alkaline you are. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure you could probably find them online. But
let's check. Would you check into that for a future segment of our nutrition and health format? That'd be very interesting, I think. What about, is it easy, since all this stuff is raw, is it easy to digest it, or is it much more difficult? Because I know that some people think that I know there are a lot of people who feel like raw food is harder to digest than cooked food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it really goes back to those enzymes helping the digestive process. But going further, blending and juicing essentially, blending, it kind of does the first parts of digestion for you. Your stomach doesn't have to work to kind of break down the food. So in that sense, it's very easy to digest. And juice, the only difference between smoothies and juice really is that smoothies contain, it's blended whole food, and the juice doesn't have any fiber. So that's the main difference. But both of them are extremely easy to digest, and juice probably the most because it requires almost no digestion.
So when you are actually doing, whether it's blending or juicing, you're getting a huge range then of vitamins and minerals essentially in your diet that are more readily available to you, you're saying, than when you just eat regular food?
Yeah, especially because a lot of people don't chew properly. And, a lot of people will have a piece of toast, so they'll have eggs, they'll have some cereal. But in working with my clients and in my own experience and what I've read, I really feel that having like a big green smoothie for breakfast, you can feel, or just a regular smoothie without the greens, but because of all that fiber and because you're getting a lot of nutrition, it actually makes you feel really full and sustains you until lunchtime.
I checked it out the other day because I was wondering how much am I actually drinking in the morning when I make my smoothies, and I'm drinking at least 30 ounces of something that is, a liquid essentially. So it's not like it's completely liquid because it's a blended amalgam of fresh fruits and different things that I've decided to put in it, whatever particular day it is. And it is amazing to me because I, like many people, probably had a typical sad diet for breakfast. And that was, eggs some days and toast. And I always felt like I needed to snack at, say, 10:30 or 11 in the morning. And when I have the smoothie, not only am I full, it's a comfortable feeling of full. It's very satisfying, and it holds me till 12:30, 1:30 in the afternoon when I don't even think about eating. It's because it's so fulfilling. It tastes so good. It's great. But another thing that we have to talk about, so put this in your memory to discuss, and that is, I'm not sure I'm going to want to have smoothies in the wintertime because it just doesn't seem to fit with my brain anyway. Freezing outside and drinking this essentially very cold breakfast blend. Anyway, we can get to that later.
I have points for that already, so we're good.
Excellent. All right. So that's our health coach, Emily Rose Shaw. She is helping us out every show, and you can listen to her segment on Crew. I think it's on 3 different days a week, and so all you have to do is check EmilyRoseShaw.com and find out when this segment airs. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so now we are going to move into our full juicing and blending. Great taste. I also want to welcome Tom Allen is here. You're here for some music later on.
That is correct, and I am very impressed with your 30 ounces of breakfast. I think you're supersizing it. Is that right?
I don't know if I'm supersizing. I think I'm sizing down because I can get into pants that I've never been in quite a while. And yes, I'm super enriching my blood.
Yeah, you supersize your smoothie and you reduce size your pants. Is that how it works?
That's absolutely perfect. Did anybody have a chance to look at that documentary? Was it Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead? So, okay, a couple of people saw that. So let's talk a little bit about, no, Shelly, come on up here for a second. Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it. I want to hear a little bit about what you thought. I would go back there, but then Bob, Robert will get mad at me because it'll be out of camera range. So what did you think about that documentary?
I thought it was really inspiring. And it's about a fellow who is seriously overweight and he's on all kinds of meds. And actually, I can't even remember how he initially gets the idea to start juicing. But he does, and he goes on a 60-day juice fast. and loses a tremendous amount of weight. And he does this in conjunction with a trip that he takes. He's from Australia originally, and he takes a trip across the United States. And he meets people along the way, and he inspires them also, a lot of overweight people, and he inspires them also to get on this program. And it was interesting because one fellow that he inspired was a truck driver and from Iowa. And he was enormous. He was even bigger than the fellow from Australia. And had all kinds of pills, and he was really, really having a lot of trouble with his health. And he got on the juice thing, started it for a little while. And so the film not only follows the fellow from Australia and his progress with the juicing and the dramatic changes that took place in his health, but this fellow from Iowa. And initially, the fellow from Iowa, the truck driver, wasn't really so keen on it. But the gentleman from Australia said, just you call me. They exchanged cards. You just call me if you ever feel like it, and I will be there for you. And sure enough, after a little while, the fellow called, and the guy from Australia, I guess he came back and really guided him through the whole thing. And just miraculous. I mean, it's just truly miraculous, the changes that took place in these people's lives. It's a transition, people that go from the sad diet, the really, really sad diet, the fast food and as the pizza, the whole thing, to juice. And I think after a couple of days, it's a little rough. Some detoxing takes place, but then they totally get used to it. They totally get into it, and miracles happen. Just miracles happen with these people. Is that?
That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead, and I don't want anybody to be mistaken that Shelley was casting aspersions on eating pizza, which is actually my favorite food. But no, not all the time. Of course not. You can't eat it all the time.
I decided to comment. I think the fundamental message it did share with everybody is that healthy eating, pretty much allows you not to have to depend on medications and other types of resources to keep your health in check. So as these guys are juicing and they're eating the nutrients from the food, they're gradually getting weaned off their medication. So as long as you're not eating the unnatural and unhealthy foods, like processed foods, anything that has more than one label, pretty much, one ingredient, then you're pretty much set to go, because the more straight from the earth it is, the less you're going to have health problems. And that's the main message of the movie, I thought.
Yeah, that's great. It's very, very inspiring. And Letitia Page is here, and oh, you have a groupie here in the audience. That's great. So Letitia Page is here of the Ayurvedic Juice Bar. And so you must be thrilled listening to all this, huh?
I am. It's really inspiring to hear so many people interested in juicing and blending and, taking, effort in making themselves healthy.
Well, ladies, I don't want to supersede what you've already discussed in terms of how you want this to go. So why don't somebody lead me in terms of what do we want to do next here?
Well, we can either jump straight into making a couple juices or smoothies and telling some of the benefits of each of the recipes that we make.
Okay, so first let's talk one more time. I just want to know, because this is keen for me, the difference between smoothies and juicing. Emily mentioned, she said it's a question of fiber. That's really the major thing.
Right. Because with the juices, you're actually stripping away the fiber and just keeping the water, the juice, versus with blending, you're keeping everything from the entire fruit or vegetables. So it's really a matter of how heavy or how light you want to have your meal, or a matter of what you're looking for,
But the thing is, if we strip away the fiber, aren't we losing a lot of the essential nutrients? Right.
No, actually, because a lot of the nutrients and vitamins are in the water. You do have some in the fiber, as Emily said earlier, but most of it is actually in the juice.
Okay. Now, is there a reason that somebody, other than taste, we'll talk about for maybe what they want to try to accomplish, like losing weight or getting healthier, is there a reason that they'd want to do one process over the other?
I really think it depends on the person's body constitution and what they can handle in their digestion. For example, if you're a smaller person and you don't really take much in the morning time or lunch or whatever meal it may be, you can do something a little lighter and be able to sustain yourself throughout the day. Versus if you have a very fiery digestive system like myself, if I don't eat, you usually feel those hunger pains and you might get a little cranky. You might want something a little heavier like the smoothie to help yourself get over.
Well, that must be why I'm so even-tempered, because I can get really cranky, but if I drink that smoothie, I'm good. I'm good at that, right?
I just have a few points about when we talked about the fiber, but in terms of the smoothies, for some people, I agree with Letitia, what she said about your constitution, what you're going for. What are your, what do you want for your health? It's a little harder to overdo it on sugar if you do a smoothie because of the fiber. It slows down the release of the fruit sugar into your body, so it doesn't spike it as quickly. And it really depends on what you're going for. The smoothies really stand in as a complete meal, like it's a breakfast. But if you're just looking to get more fruits and vegetables into your diet and you don't really want to change a meal, then juice is great because it doesn't really fill you up, but you're getting like this shot of this rush of vitamins and minerals. It doesn't take any digestion at all. And also, like in terms of physical activity, both of these are wonderful complements to being active. And juicing, juice would be a great thing to have before a workout. And a smoothie, maybe with a little added fat, a little protein powder added to it, is a great thing to consume after you work out. So those are just some other points. And then it depends on your lifestyle. If you have maybe a little more time, I think Letitia's going to talk about different kinds of juicers that are good for different things. And based on your lifestyle, using a blender, could be faster. Steve's nodding his head.
Because you just throw the stuff in there, just like throw it in there and turn the sucker on, and that's like it. And it just totally obliterates everything.
Right. And the cleanup is really easy too. I do a little trick where I just put a little bit of dish soap into the blender after I'm done using it, and of course, and some water, and I actually blend that, and then it cleans it. You don't really have to deassemble the blender. I use a Vitamix almost every single day, and I don't think you're actually supposed to really disassemble the Vitamix, and so it's just a great way to get it clean, and then you're done. So it's quick.
Yeah, it's great. So, I think a lot does depend on, I think two things. One does depend upon your lifestyle. So for me, it's really simple and easy to just throw everything in the blender. And I'm going to watch Letitia and really try to learn how to use this juicer, because I think that there would be times when I'd like to juice, but I haven't developed the patience, we'll say, yet to proceed in that manner. And then the second thing is something we talk about all the time, and that is listening to your body, because there isn't, and you guys can correct me if you want to, but there isn't one way to eat. It's something that you have to learn for yourself. You can get all the advice that you want from Emily or Letitia or your doctor or your friends or books that you read, but the truth is you have to listen to your own body, because just because somebody tells you that juicing is really nutritious, it may not work for you for whatever reason, depending upon where you are at that particular moment, where your physiology is at that particular time. So I think that's the one key thing. Pizza can work for everybody, anytime, doesn't matter. What they're okay. I'll stop. All right. Anyway, let's talk. That was a delayed laugh from somebody. Let's start, because we've got all these recipes. We've got 4 different drinks, and I think almond milk also, right? So we've got a lot that we want to get through, and we want everybody to really have an opportunity to look and see how this is all made. And one of the things that Emily has done is that she's brought, because we want to show you some of these processes require some special equipment, really, and it's an investment. And I thought about it, actually. I was thinking about the Omega blender, which we're using, or the Vitamix that you're familiar with, and they do cost a bunch of money. But when I thought about it a lot, they ended up being like 3 cents or 4 cents a day when you break it all down over the period of the time of the warranty of the product, which I look at as being significant because if you have a warranty, then you don't have to ever worry about replacing it and having to spend more money. So it turns out to be that it's an investment that you have to make a decision for your health that this is important, and then it becomes something that you want to put your thoughts and money into. But anyway, you can do a lot of blending with a regular 10-speed or less blender that you can buy at any particular place for $25, $35. But if you want to get into more fancy things that also do a lot of other things like make nut butters or all kinds of soups, right, exactly, all kinds of other things. You should be up here. That's good. I like that. Anyway, we want to thank the legacy companies because they have provided the Omega blender that we're going to be using and the Omega Vert Juicer. Omega is a name that is synonymous with great juicing for many, many years, so we're thrilled that they are supporting Great Taste and helping us out with this. I heard that. I won't watch if somebody wants to turn off their phone, and we won't, mention names. Anyway, we want to thank them for supporting Crew and Great Taste, and also supporting your health by creating such terrific products. So, where do we want to get started?
We're going to make a tropical green smoothie. We're going to start with a green smoothie, if that's okay, Steve.
I'll try to swallow and make it work for me.
The key, I wanted to make a smoothie that's going to be good for beginners. And so, there's some guidelines for making a green smoothie really delicious when you're first starting out with them. And one of the key points is to really, make it delicious for, don't make it hard on yourself. Don't make it where you have to plug your nose and drink it. You want it to taste very good. So some of the milder tasting greens are baby spinach. Romaine lettuce has a lot of great minerals in it. So today we're going to be using spinach, and the liquid we're going to use is coconut water, which has electrolytes. It's very great for us. And we're going to stick to one kind of leafy green, which I recommend for people in the beginning. You could put in different ones, but for simplicity's sake, I would say stick to one green, whether it be lettuce or spinach or kale. And then you want to make sure that your fruit is very ripe. The ripeness of your fruit really determines the flavor. And if you want your smoothie to be a little bit thicker, you could use frozen fruit. I recommend that instead of ice. Ice tends to kind of water it down a little bit. So that's what I recommend for that. And just keep it simple. And then rotate your greens. Greens have alkaloids in them. It's compounds that actually are protective to the plants, out in the wild so that animals don't eat them. So that's, they're there for a reason. But if we consume the same kind of green every single day in large amounts, it might not be good for us. So just rotating our greens, in general, you want to do that anyway to get the array of nutrients.
All right, so we're going to put spinach, water, mango, banana, and pineapple chunks. Wow, sounds delicious. Now, is there any particular technique, or can you just throw them all in there when you're blending?
Yeah, so we're going to do, I recommend with this, standard blender, we're going to blend the greens with the liquid first and then add the fruit. So that's a little tip that I recommend for using, blender you probably have at home. So we're going to do that. Okay, so
while you do that, because you're going to throw it all in, so you're going to blend the greens first, and that's because they're going to take the biggest amount of energy from that blender, and so you're going to blend them with the liquid, and then you'll be able to throw the other stuff in, and that poor little blender won't have to work too hard. So that's great. So Letitia, tell us a little bit about your background. How did you get into wanting to own a juice bar?
Right. So before I came to Fairfield, Iowa, I was really interested in health, reading a bunch of books, watching a lot of videos on how to improve my health because, honestly, I was on the standard, diet before I came, and I wanted to prevent myself from getting these different ailments that I saw within my family and the community. That was really sad, It touches a lot of people, so I just took it upon myself to change my diet, eliminating certain certain things such as the meat and
Not pizza, though. Not pizza, right?
You can make your own pizza, and you can make it very, organic and as nutritious as you want it to be. So when I came here to Fairfield, I decided to I got my master's in Vedic science with an emphasis in physiology and health. So I really wanted to help others and share this knowledge. And with a juice bar, and we needed one here in Fairfield, quite frankly, that's one of the main ways that I decided to do it. And then I can talk to people all day about health and juicing and whatever other questions they have.
Great. That's terrific. Now, what are you I'm just interested, what are you going to make?
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so we'll have some noise, but it's fine. Letitia and I will just talk. No problem.
All right, so I'm going to make two different type of...
You're going to make two different types of juice?
Yeah, two different types of juices.
Mm-hmm.
And because my background is in Ayurveda, the two juice names are Pitta and Kapha. So for those of you, if you know or you don't know, the Pitta is going to be more of a cooling drink. So it's going to have celery, cucumber, chard, and apple. So it has a little sweet, a little astringent qualities in it to help pacify the Pitta. For those, like I said, who have maybe like a stronger digestion, or the time of the year is summer is coming up, and it's going to be very hot. We want to cool down so we can drink a nice cooling juice. So
coming from this particular type of background, then you recommend to people that they change the types of juicing that they do based on the season?
Yes, the season or the time of day, what they need in particular. For instance, with this Pitta juice, if you have a tendency of heartburn, this is a really great juice that you can to drink to cool down your system inside out.
Awesome. You're listening to Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Steve Boss, and if you think this is loud, wait till we turn on the Omega blender. This is nothing. But I love our little granddaughter. When she's in the room, we have her put her hands over her ears. She immediately, when she sees me walk to the blender, she puts her hands over her ears. Right away. I bet that little one might do the same thing. So, all right. So how's it going over there, Emily? Is it going really well? You've blended the spinach and the water.
I blended the spinach and the water first, and then I put in a banana, a mango, and a cup of pineapple, and blended it all together. And I'm going to take a little tester. When you're dealing with foods that are directly from nature, for example, no two mangoes are the same in sweetness. No two, pineapples are going to be the same. So when you're making smoothies, I always taste it, especially before I'm going to serve it to a group of people.
Okay, that's fair. I like that idea. Now, these recipes that you are both using, they're available. You're going to give them to me so that we can put them up on the website. Everybody will have great. So you don't have to worry about it if you don't have a pencil or don't have a good memory. 2 cups of spinach, 1 cup of water or coconut water, 1 mango, 1 banana, and 1 cup of pineapple chunks for a tropical green smoothie. And how does it taste?
Tastes delicious.
Let me be the judge of that.
Okay.
Let's see if it tastes delicious. It looks beautiful. I mean, that's for sure. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'm going to see if I can keep it from getting on my shirt. Okay, it tastes delicious. That is really good. I might change my mind. We'll see. We'll think about it. We'll think about it. Okay, so now is there anything else anybody has to do with that? It's done, huh?
They just have to drink it.
Beautiful. All right, so I think we'll go over to Letitia and see what she can make us a juice drink. And meantime, if Jason, do you mind, would you get some cups out so you could help Emily and everybody can taste? Jason is our go-to. He's the guy who helps us out of a jam every week almost. All right, so what are you going to be up to here?
Okay, so we can start off with the Pitta juice, and then later we'll move on to the Kapha juice. So like I said earlier, the Pitta juice is going to include the chard, celery, cucumber, and apple. And like you said, we'll be using the Omega Vert. This is a slow masticating juicer, so like the name, obviously it's a lot slower than the centrifugal juicer, which is faster, and it actually rips and tears apart the fruit and vegetable to extract the juice.
So it's basically there's two processes. There's the centrifugal that rips and tears it apart,
Right.
and then there's the masticating that essentially presses it.
Right,
Is there any advantage, disadvantage to either system for your own, we'll say, nutritional intake?
Right, definitely. The slow masticating juicer, it's a lot slower, so it's a lot less heat. It doesn't oxidize or less oxidant for the fruits and vegetables, so that way it won't kill the nutrients and the enzymes in the fruits and vegetables versus the centrifugal. It's a lot faster, a lot more heat, so it may take away some of the nutritional value for you.
But do you recommend both types?
It definitely depends on what you're looking for. If you have the time and the patience, I would definitely say go with the slower one. If you want to, go in and out, then I would say go with the masticating.
Okay.
I mean, not the masticating.
No,
The
the centrifugal.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Sounds good. And this is kind of interesting because what we have in this juicer in the Omega is that there's two little baskets. One, the juice comes out of one, and out of the other one comes the pulp. And is there anything that I've always wondered, can we use that pulp for different things? I mean, could you make it, for example, if you were juicing vegetables, could you use it to help make a vegetable stock?
Yeah, I'm sure you can. Using it in your cooking as well as baking. You can make muffins dehydrated and make crackers, as well as if you like to garden, you can compost it and make some really great soil out of it.
Okay, that's terrific. All right, so you're going to make this up for us, and is there anything else you want to say about the process meanwhile?
No, just you don't have to really worry about too much the measurements, and I think that's the great thing about juicing is because it's going to taste great regardless.
And then I guess you can adjust things if you feel like you need a little bit more sweet
versus green. Definitely at the juice bar, say if we're doing the green pranic boom drink, which is mostly green vegetables, I ask people if they prefer a little bit more sweet or a little more green, because if I make it green the way that it's supposed to be, and if they're not really ready for that rich chlorophyll taste, then they're like, maybe a little bit more apple. So it really depends on the person and their taste buds.
All right, I want to ask you about wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is something that a lot of us, how many people have ever had wheatgrass shots here? Okay, so a few people have. I mean, I remember, first of all, I don't even know what the big deal is about wheatgrass, but I'd like to hear a little bit about it. But I remember once I was in Colorado and I went to a juice bar and had a wheatgrass shot, and I started feeling like lightheaded immediately. It was just like so bizarre. I was like, what the heck? I had this 1 ounce of wheatgrass and I'm just like somebody hold me up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one thing that you actually have to be mindful of when you're taking wheatgrass, because it detoxes the body so rapidly that you have to make sure that you're drinking a lot of water before and after you take the wheatgrass shot. I recommend, as well as you can eat afterwards. That might help slow down the process as well.
So what's the thing about wheatgrass? Why is it? It's like almost a cult, isn't it?
It has a cult following.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you can start off taking wheatgrass, like you said, 1 ounce to start off with, and then you can work your way up to no more than 4 ounces a day. And it, like you said, it does have a really fast detoxing process, so that's really good to clean out your system on a daily basis, as well as it has a lot of good benefits as far as the amount of chlorophyll and nutrients. I don't remember the actual amount as far as how many pounds of fruits and vegetables that you would have to take that's equivalent to wheatgrass, but it's a dramatic difference. It's like 10 pounds or something crazy like that of vegetables versus just the 1-2 ounces of wheatgrass. So it really has a lot of great benefits and energy as well, which most people really like the wheatgrass for. They'll take a wheatgrass shot in the morning versus having coffee, which has the ups and downs, versus wheatgrass, it doesn't,
Very interesting. That is pretty interesting. By the way, just to mention, those people who were at the show last week had an invitation to come and have an espresso at my house. And I did have one person take me up on it, and I think that she thought it was pretty darn good, right? Yeah, that's right. She's nodding. So anyway, I love the fact that you don't really have to worry about proportions. You can make things, adjust them, and see how you're doing. So this is going to have, one more time, this is the Pitta drink to cool off the system.
Right. Yep, the Pitta juice, which has the celery, cucumber, chard, and apple.
All right, celery, cucumber, chard, and apple. We'll let you get busy making that right now. And meantime, we're going to come back over to Emily, and we're going to talk a little bit about the next thing she's going to make, which is almond milk. Has anybody ever had... First of all, how many people have had almond milk that comes in those aseptic containers that you can buy at the store, right? Now, honestly, isn't that stuff horrible? I mean, does anybody really like that? I mean, it's awful. And besides being awful, it has lots of sugar in it and all kinds of other additives. Now, I have had almond milk in Italy once that was with Sicilian almonds that was quite extraordinary, absolutely amazing. And I sent out today, anybody who's on the email list got a link today to a great blog post about making almond milk. And it was this woman making almond milk in Italy, and I highly recommend you read it because it's hilarious and also helpful. But anyway, almond milk, pretty simple, right?
Yeah, very simple. There's a lot of different, you can do so much with almond milk. We're going to do a really simple recipe. We're going to do half a cup of almonds, 2 cups of water. I have a vanilla bean here. I love fresh vanilla beans, so I'm going to use half of this in my recipe for almond milk. And then I'm going to put in maybe 1-2 chopped dates for a little extra sweetness. And also I'm going to add, this is non-GMO soy lecithin. And lecithin kind of is a thickener. It kind of helps to emulsify the milk and make it really creamy. So I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of that as well.
Isn't that cheating?
Cheating? No.
Okay. All right. So a half a cup of almonds, 2 cups of water, or 1 cup of almonds and 4 cups of water, a teaspoon of vanilla or half a vanilla bean, which I love that. And then for sweetener, dates, and a little bit of emulsification, some non-GMO lecithin. And I love the idea, that Emily, that you're using the dates for sweetener as opposed to, just pouring some sugar in or something like that. I think that's really, really nice. Tom, I'm kind of thinking that you and I should go back there to play some music for a second, because I think it's going to be really loud here. But then again, you know what? I'm thinking maybe we'll wait on the music until she's not running that. That's how the flow goes around here, which is kind of like you never know what's going to happen.
Thanks for dangling it out in front of myself and then pulling it back. That's always very nice. However, is this a mic that picks up a lot of what's in the background or not? Emily asked a little while ago, can I start the blender? And I said, oh, sure, Steve won't care. And then you had to flee.
Well, I think this is actually a unidirectional mic, so it's probably not going to be too bad. But at the same time,
I've got a really nice song about it's got some nice associations with the greatest juice bar until I came to Fairfield, that is, that I ever ran into, which was the Illinois Central Railroad had a stop, main head thing, downtown Chicago, and they had this juice bar to kill all juice bars. They had everything there. And this was years ago. It was before anybody heard of juice. But you could get fresh juices that were made out of just about everything.
That must have been a long time ago. This was before anybody ever heard of juice. So I think it's probably interesting. That brings up something that I really want to ask you about, and that is, it's a real rage right now that all these companies are making juices and they're bottling them. You've got Naked Juice, and you've got Odwalla, and you've got all these other real boutique juice companies that are out there. That one of them, I think, they get the juice to you within 7 hours of it being. For some reason, I'm kind of thinking to myself, this is not really what's going to work, because isn't the whole idea that you want this to be fresh?
Yes, you definitely want your juice to be as fresh as possible so the enzymes can still be alive. You can, keep it in the refrigerator, but like I said, you want to probably drink it as soon as you make it. It's healthier that way, definitely.
Okay, so and if you were recommending for people, so let's say they made a big bunch of juice in the morning, how long should they keep it?
I would say at the max about 4 hours to make sure that you keep it nice and fresh and make sure it's refrigerated.
Okay. Now, I noticed that Jason is washing all of the cups. Aren't there any more cups?
I'm doing this as fast as I possibly can because each one's doing certain ones, so we're going to get through with it each one's doing one at a time, so it's easier this way.
You are really something. I'll tell you. You know, give that guy an extra thing of juice, will you, Emily, when you get it made? I'm going to go back here now, and I wanted to ask who wants to talk a little bit about the green smoothie that they tried. Anybody want to offer any comments about it? What is sure, come on over here. Let's go over this direction and talk a little bit about it. Poor Robert's trying to. Tom, Jerry, you know, let's because I thought it was absolutely delicious, and it's maybe changing my mind about things.
Well, it was delicious, and I said it didn't taste green at all. It tasted very sweet, and it looked very healthy.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, great.
It had the color of green, but it had the taste of pineapple to me. It was mostly pineapple and a little bit of banana in the background, but it went down smooth, so easy. Sometimes banana drinks, you were just talking about the ones that they make in the stores and they bottle. They're too heavy, they're too thick, and they're old.
Yeah, I think the same way. And the other thing about banana that you really want to be careful about is you really, if you're going to use banana, you don't want to use too much banana because bananas are so tasty, I guess, that it's nice to be able to have them in there. Matter of fact, why do we always see so many bananas in juice drinks?
In smoothies? Bananas give a smoothie a really great texture. It's just so creamy. Excuse me. Mango does a similar thing. So mangoes and bananas, I have a banana in my smoothie every morning. I think it's just the taste, just really gives it this wonderful texture.
Okay, my wife doesn't like bananas, so I'm looking for an alternative for her, instead of bananas. Avocado makes
a nice thickening, yeah.
It's avocado and also makes it very smooth and pretty.
Chia seeds as well after you hydrate the chia seeds, they get really thick and gelatin-like. So that will help thicken it too if you want that texture.
Okay, so Letitia's been working on this juice, and it's a very simple process, but it takes a little bit of time, so you have to have some patience. But it's very quiet. It's calming, isn't it?
Yes. The slow masticating one is definitely very, very slow and quiet versus the centrifugal one. Man, depending on the juicer, it can be really loud. Actually, when I was choosing a juicer, I had to send a couple of them back because they were just so loud. I'm like, the clients are going to, run off scared because because it's so loud. So I actually found that the Jack LaLanne is one of the most quiet masticating juicers out there right now.
Nice, yeah. And this Omega is very, very quiet. I really like it a lot. It's very, very quiet and easy. That's pretty. That looks really nice. And the thing that I like about it is, the one thing about this is that it's all, it looks like one liquid. It's all mixed up. You put everything in separately, but it looks like it's completely one type of liquid. And I think that has to do with the way it stirs it together in there.
Yes, and I think that this screen is actually a little wider because this does have a little bit of pulp in it. And you can actually change out the different screens on your juicer, whether you want less or more pulp on it. And I believe this one has more.
Yeah, this one there's one that has a larger amount of pulp, allows a larger amount of pulp to get in, and the other one a less amount. Now, we're also, the laughing is Emily's squeezing out the almond milk. So what's going on here?
So this is a nut milk bag, which costs about $5. You can get it online. When I soaked my almonds for about 8 hours before I blended them in my recipe, and I didn't have time to completely take all of the skins off the almonds. And so what I'm doing is I'm using this nut milk bag. We just poured the liquid through this, and I'm just squeezing it out so that what's left is just this really smooth milk. And then actually what's left is this kind of like almond meal, wet almond meal. You can dry it. You could actually use it. You don't have to waste it. You could use it in crackers, different things like that.
I can't wait to taste this because I just love almonds and almond milk. Now, when we think about what type of almonds we want to actually use, we don't want to, or tell us what we want to do. Do we want to use toasted almonds? Do we want to use raw almonds? Do we want to use salted almonds? What do we want to use to make this?
We want to use raw almonds because they're the most neutral. If we want to add, we're adding things to the milk, so we don't want to, if we get roasted almonds or salted almonds, we're going to throw off the whole flavor balance of the milk.
Okay, and one thing everybody should know about raw almonds, in the United States, you are not allowed to actually sell raw almonds directly to the public, unless you sell them directly to the public. In other words, you could go to somebody's farm who has almonds and you could buy raw almonds from them. Otherwise, though, if you're buying almonds, for example, from the States at a health food store, at any regular grocery store, or in a bag, those almonds have all been pasteurized. Now, whether you think that's okay or not okay, I just wanted to inform people about it. However, if you're buying Sicilian almonds, for example, almonds that come from Italy or almonds that come from Spain, those almonds do not have to be pasteurized. Very strange in terms of the legalities here, because if one has to be pasteurized, then why wouldn't all of them have to be pasteurized? But thankfully they don't, and so you can look for almonds that come from other countries that actually are raw if you feel that that's important to you in terms of getting the full amount of nutrition out of the product.
Yeah, so now we're going to make, this is a recipe that I created. I call it a berry pink beauty smoothie. It has 2 different kinds of berries in it, which are wonderful for, all the antioxidants. They're great for our skin. They're great. They have anti-cancer effects. So we're going to do a half cup of raspberries, a half cup strawberries, roughly, 1 banana. For creaminess, instead of, there's a banana in there as well, but we're going to have additional creaminess from a quarter of a medium avocado. And we're going to do a cup of the almond milk we just made, and then we're going to put in the other half of the fresh vanilla bean. And if we want it to be a little bit thinner, we can add a little bit of filtered water to it. So it's a really decadent, delicious, almost like dessert-like, but it's a perfect breakfast.
It sounds absolutely wonderful, and I just had some of the juice. This is the pitta juice, and it's wonderful, and you can feel it. I mean, feel how deliciously cooling it is. It'd be perfect in the summertime. If you come in and you're really hot, that would be awesome. So, Emily, now there's going to be enough almond milk for us all to try after this, hopefully. Or a little bit, at least a taste, right?
A taste.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully we can have a little bit of taste, because I want to taste that right now before it goes anywhere. So do we have a spoon or anything like that? Yeah, I definitely want to. That's dirty. Yeah. So, all right. Let me just try this almond milk because it looks beautiful. Can we show everybody what it looks like? Because it has a beautiful look to it if you put it underneath the mirror. And I think this is one of the reasons that you probably use the lecithin, right? Is to give it that really good look. And let's just see how it tastes. It shouldn't be gritty, right? It should be just nice and delicious. Yeah, nice, really nice texture, and also just perfect in terms of sweet. Just a little tiny hint of sweetness because of the dates. So that's really, really nice, and it's very simple to make. Again, we'll put the recipes up, but it had in it, one more time, it had 1/2 cup of almonds, 2 cups of water, or a cup of almonds, 4 cups of water, a teaspoon of vanilla, and then are we adding more vanilla if we do the cup of almonds and the 4 cups of water, right? We're adding more vanilla then to it. Okay, so you could put a whole bean in that one. And if you want to sweeten it up a little bit, dates, not too many because dates are really sweet, and that lecithin to give it some nice texture, non-GMO lecithin.
Do you know places in Fairfield that have Spanish and Italian almonds?
I do know that the natural food store carries Sicilian raw almonds, and I actually was going to do a little investigating myself to find out, a little bit more about it. But I know that the package that it says in bulk that it is organic and that it is from Sicily. So that's what I've been using. They're actually blanched already, which is that brings up a question here. So, is it okay? Do you feel like you're so into nutrition, is it okay to buy already blanched almonds? I've tasted, the taste is wonderful. I mean, a lot of people feel like, well, they're not going to have as much flavor because they've already been blanched, and maybe the process, maybe Emily's standing here having handled the raspberries, her fingers are all red. Anyway, what do you think about blanched almonds as opposed to almonds that are already still have their skins on them?
I think just in general, nuts and seeds are so nutritious that, if a recipe calls for blanched almonds, go ahead and do it. I tend to favor the raw almonds with the skins, but like for this recipe, I took, some of the skins off after I soaked them. So it really depends on the recipe. That you're what effect you're going for, and if it's between using blanched almonds, not using almonds at all, go for the blanched almonds because they're still full of nutrition.
Okay, sounds like a good plan. Or if you're lazy like me, go for the blanched almonds. All right, the next drink Letitia is going to do is the kaffa juice.
Yes, the kaffa juice is a bit more stimulating, and what's really going to kick that off is the ginger that you're going to add. And you want to be a bit careful when you're adding the ginger. I mean, if you like it spicy, have fun with it. But if you're going to get that bite at the back of the throat, just be a little easy with the ginger.
Okay, so it's the fresh ginger that's going to really give this the kick, the zing. Now, one of the things that I really like, and I think that it's really fun to play with your food, and a lot of people love, for example, V8 juice. Well, obviously that V8 juice has been in a can for a long time and isn't probably full of nutrition, but that's something that you could easily create in your own kitchen, right?
Yeah, you definitely can. Tomatoes, celery, cucumber, parsley. If you want it to be spicy, you can add some ginger or maybe a little peppers in there, and you can just have fun, be creative, or just check out different recipes online as well. That's always a helpful source.
Is there a really good site that you like as far as looking at recipes for juicing?
For juicing? Not really, because honestly, I like to just be creative in the kitchen.
I like your style.
Yeah.
Play around. I mean,
definitely. And you can't really go wrong. Also, talking to other people, I know someone who did a 60-day juice fast, and she told me about juicing sweet potatoes. And I was like, sweet potatoes juicing? But I tried it, and it was amazing with some carrot and a couple other things that she told me about. It was really delicious. So you just have to be creative.
Amazing. Very, very, very interesting. You're listening to Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. I'm Steve Boss, and we are talking about juicing and blending with Letitia Page and our health coach, Emily Rose Shaw. And Emily, I noticed you have a book here, Green Smoothie Revolution, 200 recipes, the radical leap towards natural health.
Yeah, actually, it's authored by Victoria Butenko. I've actually met her and two of her children. And she is the first person who really, I went to her website, I looked at her recipes, and I was so inspired. And so I got this book right around the same time that I got my Vitamix. And ever since then, I've been making a green smoothie almost every single day for almost 2 years. So I recommend this book to people because the smoothies are, there's a whole section on beginner green smoothies, so they're guaranteed to taste really good. But there are different sections. There's soups in here too that you can make in the blender, and there's green puddings, which basically is a green smoothie without the liquid. So you can eat it with a spoon, and it's really delicious. I've made a lot of recipes in this book. It's kind of been my Bible for green smoothies. All
right, Green Smoothie Revolution by Victoria Butenko. Anybody had their own experience that they want to share as far as maybe you went on a juice fast, or you drink smoothies every morning, or maybe you just don't? No. Well, has anybody ever done anything? Okay. Okay. Now I'm getting confused. Yes?
Oh, yes. In my 40s, I did juicing every day for years.
But then what happened?
Well, I fell out of love with carrots.
I love that.
I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand being around. But I still like them, but it just turned me totally.
I love that. Oh, that's great. I love what people say around here. Okay.
I make a smoothie for breakfast almost every day too, and I start out with a couple little handfuls of quick oats, actually, and I put the quick oats in the Vitamix, and then I put some hot water in there, and that starts, because quick oats cook really fast. So they really break down quite a bit with just putting the water in there while I get my other ingredients together. And then I put greens in, and I put a whole bunch of other veggies in, and to thicken it up a little, I put chia seeds in sometimes if I have them, or ground flax. And I also put in a little bit of almond butter, and that kind of thickens it up too. So it's really an entire meal. And because in my cooking I have an emphasis on kids, when you put all that together, sometimes the color doesn't come out so nice when you're combining red fruits with green vegetables. So I'll add a couple tablespoons of grape juice concentrate, and that really beefs up the color so that it's nice and pink again. And it also adds a lot of sweetness. So you get all that nutrition, and if you're trying to really hide the greens from a child, then that's a good way to do it.
Shelley, I'll tell you, I'm glad you're enjoying.
She should have her own book.
Maybe she's been working on her own book for like 20 years. I think she's eventually going to have it. But I'll tell you one thing, Shelley, do not invite me over for breakfast, okay?
And my experience with green smoothies is I was having them every day for breakfast because Emily was making them for me.
This is Kathy Shaw, who is Emily's mother.
I'm Emily's mother, so now that she's not at home making them for me, and I've been having oatmeal with fruit or whatever, and which before I would have said that feels like a healthy meal, but I really feel like I noticed the difference. That, you know, you're just not getting, it doesn't feel as complete, it doesn't have as many nutrients. I don't feel like I'm getting the energy from it. So it's because she took her Vitamix with her when she moved. I'm here to see how she's doing it with that's my
with the omega. You know, you should use the omega. That's the thing. But yeah, you go ahead and turn that on. That's absolutely fine. But I understand completely what you're saying because that's exactly how I feel about using the smoothies. You know, exactly how I feel about doing it. So, Tom Allen, what are you going to play for us?
Well, they just started a blender for us, but I got to tell you, I had a juicer and lost a part. And that was a year ago, and now I got another juicer, and it feels fantastic to be having juice again. And I put a radish in along with the ginger, and it's fantastic.
So you put a radish in when you're creating your vegetable juice, you mean?
Yeah, juicing it and throwing a nice fat radish in. It's just a great addition.
Okay, so you hear that? There's another new one. You know, throw a nice fat radish in. You know, that's all right. Play us a little song, will ya? Tom Allen.
Yeah. Getting on the Illinois Central, the commuters would grab a nice bracing juice. This is about the L in Chicago. Every verse ends with food, and the last one is spinach, just like old Popeye eating his. So here we go.
You haven't played this for us before, have you?
Yes.
Oh, Tom, you're trying to sneak that in on us, buddy.
You disappeared and came again. You make a rolling racket and you wobble like a gander, then you slide into a tunnel just like honey in a funnel, little train. Little tiny train, your loss is everybody's gain. You never stay located, but the people would have hated if they'd paid their dimes and nickels and sat down and stayed like pickles in a jar. Little tiny train, did they take you from your mother? You were 6 cars yesterday and you're only 2 today. You never eat your spinach because if you don't, you're finished, little train. Now wait for the instrumental part. Little tiny train, did they take you from your mother? You were 6 cars yesterday and you're only 2 today. You better eat your spinach because if you don't, you're finished, little train.
Tom, that's great. That's awesome. That's absolutely terrific. Listen, we're going to have to run. I hate to do this, but we'll finish up our drinks. You've been listening to Great Taste on KRUU 100.1 FM, the solar-powered voice of Fairfield, Iowa. We've been talking to Emily Rose Shaw, our health coach, and also Letitia Page, who's the owner of the Ayurvedic Juice Bar in Fairfield, Iowa. It's called Blended Bliss Bar, and you've been listening to 60 minutes of delicious radio on Crew.
Great taste. Sweet. Sour. So good to taste.